Okay, so hear me out, right? I've decided recently I've got my own religion. Genuinely, I'm not even trying to be funny. I'm not saying I'm starting a new religion. It's it's a crazy thing to actually come out right and say, but the thing with Charlie Kirk recently has got me thinking, right? Now, granted, the shooter, or the alleged shooter, don't get in trouble with anybody, the alleged shooter, he's not cooperating with the police. He's not speaking to them, so we don't know for sure what's motivated him to do that, but it's ignited something in me recently. It has, because if he has assassinated Charlie Kirk because he doesn't agree with what he says or what he believes, that's a real problem, because we should be able to disagree and not have to turn to violence. Now, Muslims, Christians, whatever else, any religion, I respect them all, but from what I know, I can't say I agree with everything that they all preach. Even the Bible. If I was to come close, the closest to any which I'd follow, it would be Christianity and the Bible. But even then, nobody can say for sure these things happened. Now, let me make this clearly, I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I'm not, because I'm of the belief that the God I believe in is a higher power and can strike me dead right now if he wanted to. For sure, there's no doubt in my mind about that. That's what I believe. But I can't lie and say I believe passages in the Bible that say, there's no place for homosexuality. Now, I'm not homosexual, but I know a lot of people that are, and they're good people, men and women. So, what do you do? Do you gloss over things, or do you gloss over 10% of things in a book that maybe 90% you believe in? That's hard for me to do, because that 10% of things you gloss over, or I gloss over, if I choose to do so, affect many people, and I can't lie to myself and say that I agree with those views on homosexuality. Now, the greatest minds in the world, past, present and probably future, certainly past and present, like Jordan Peterson, Brian Cox, Stephen Hawkins, of the past obviously, Stephen Fry, trying to think who else. Well, I mean, there's 4 that I've named. The conclusion they come to, right, and what is the meaning of life, and why are we here, what happens after we die, etc, etc. The conclusion we come to, another one is what's out there in the universe. That just came to my head there. The conclusion is we don't know, right? That's the bottom line. We do not know. So I look at it like this. I see what happened to Charlie Cox, and by the way, there's obviously been a lot of things happen before then. Look at the 9/11 disaster, which, by the way, was my birthday. Is my birthday. My birthday is September 11th. What's behind a lot of these attacks? Not all the time, but a lot of the time, is religion and disagreeing with other people's beliefs. The religion, I mean, if you want to call it a religion, my beliefs don't have a name, because, like I say, I've looked into many different religions and talked to many different people of different religions, and not one have I come across that I agree with everything that they say. So I've decided to start my own, effectively. Now, when I say start my own religion, let me back up a little. I'm not talking about I'm going to start preaching from the rooftops with a microphone and go and gate crash churches and places of worship for religious followers. I'm certainly not going to do that. But yeah, I don't know how to put it into words really. I'm just the Charlie Kirk thing, like I say, it's ignited something in me recently, where I've looked at it and I thought, you know, the Bible says we're in the last days, and everywhere you look, it would appear that is the case. But the scriptures and the signs that the Bible gives, and there's probably people that are saying, well, give me some examples. I'm not gonna lie, I can't think right now. But the thing is, this is not the point of this video. The point I'm making is, I'm under no illusions. The God that I believe in, because I do believe there is a higher power, and I believe there is a God. I believe there's much more to this life than what we are currently living in our physical form. But yeah, sorry, getting back to what I was saying there, sorry. I'm under no illusions. If he wanted to, he could strike me dead right now. There's no doubt in my mind about that. So I want to make it clear that it's not that I'm an atheist. I do believe in certain things, but I'm very much of the mentality and the belief that I don't want to force feed it through people's mouths. Now, again, I say this with respect, but Jehovah's Witnesses have a bad reputation. And let me emphasise this, because my papa was a great man. He was a Jehovah's Witness. So I'm not disrespecting that religion by no means. But the things, you know, they do, they go door to door and they spread the word. I respect it. But I'm just very much of the belief that the God that I believe in, if there is such a thing as Armageddon and Judgment Day, he will give those people that are less educated or need a little bit more convincing. I'm convinced he will give those people the opportunity to follow his ways. And I guess things I'm seeing in my country, Scotland and the United Kingdom, with the immigration situation, where I'm not saying all Muslims, right, but that is a problem in the UK right now. Muslims coming over, and some of the crimes they're committing are awful. And there's very much a discussion and a belief that they're coming over here to try and take over. Bit by bit they're coming in, fit, young, healthy men. You don't see old men coming in, or women. It does make you think maybe there is something afoot. And yeah, it's a very deep subject. But I don't know what else to say, really. I feel there is a real big change coming in the world, and I come back to what I was saying before about if I was relating to any religion, the closest one would be Christianity, and what the Bible says, because honour thy mother and father, treat others like how you want to be treated yourself, among many others, you know, don't steal, murder, etc. I believe in a lot of the Bible's core values, but I don't believe with a lot of other things. I mean, if I was to follow that religion, and I've spoke to religious people about this, the Bible says you shouldn't put markings on yourself, meaning piercings, tattoos. I have tattoos, and I don't have piercings, but I have had my ears pierced in the past when I was younger. You know, it was a phase, it was a fad when I was when I was in high school. Everybody was doing it. It was one of those things. And I spoke to Christians about it, and Jehovah's Witnesses, and they say, oh well, you know, God will forgive you of these things. and that's nice to hear. But that, among many other things, you know, the homosexuality thing, I can't disagree. No, sorry, I can't agree with that. I would just be lying to myself. And I don't know, man. It's a very, very deep thing, a very, very deep conversation and topic. But I just felt the need to put this out there, you know. I'm sure there will be many people that look at it and laugh. That's okay. I'm used to getting laughed at. When you look like me, you're used to being laughed at. But there's a certain way in which I've tried to live my life. You know, I've tried to treat everyone with respect, politeness, kindness, and you'll have people calling me a hypocrite because there are times where I don't see it as making fun of people, but I like to have a bit of fun, a bit of a laugh. I can make jokes about people. That sounds awful, but it's never at anyone's expense. And what I mean by that is, if ever I thought I was making someone feel uncomfortable or embarrassed or hurt, I would stop. I would 100% stop. I only do it when I think the person can take the joke, and in return, anything that gets said to me, I take it on the chin. You know, I don't take things too personal. Things involving my kids, that's different. You know, no one should go to that level. I just wondered how many other people were feeling the same way as me. You know, that they've got certain beliefs, or that they believe 80% of this religion, 20% they don't believe in or agree with. I'm genuinely curious, because I can't be the only one that feels this way. I can't be. And it's just very interesting to me. It's very interesting to me, so I guess time will tell. This will not be the last time I speak on it, by the way, because I know what will happen. I'll go home, I'll put this out, and I'll be thinking, oh, I should have mentioned this, or I should have mentioned that. That's the story of my life, you know. And I've made many videos where in my mind I've got bullet points, and maybe I really should start making notes and taking notes and then referring to them for when I'm making a video. But it's not my style. I don't like to do that. I just like to kind of go and speak my mind and speak for the heart, I guess. But I would like to hear other people's thoughts. That's the point I'm making. There's got to be other people that feel the same way I do, and that's another thing. Heaven and hell. The God that I believe in and the God that I love. There's no way that there's a hell. I don't believe a hell exists. I don't believe God would ever make some place like hell of everlasting torture. I don't believe that. But that doesn't mean I'm right. You know, and again, this is what I keep coming back to. This is really the main point of my video, and I've kind of went off track a little bit with it. But we don't know. Bottom line, we do not know. And like I said before, all the greatest minds that certainly I can think of right now, like Jordan Peterson, Stephen Fry, Brian Cox, even Albert Einstein, Stephen Hawking as well. There's no definitive proof. There can't be. You know, there needs to be a level of humbleness that we human beings basically have, because we don't know. There's absolutely zero way of proving anything. We can have our beliefs, but that's why I think religion is so debatable, and so why it causes so many problems, because it's like you're just butting heads against each other without any. I'm not saying there's not any proof, right? Because there's some scriptures in the Bible, I'm sure there's some scriptures of the Quran and other religions that have predicted things that have came true, but there is no definitive, this is what's going to happen, this is how it's going to happen. Away from this world, there's the universe with all these different galaxies. There's no way of really proving that. So I would like to hear your thoughts on if I'm losing my mind or if I'm actually speaking a bit of sense. But you know what, regardless of which one, you treat people how you want to get treated yourself. At least for the most part, we're all imperfect human beings, we all make mistakes. That's the general way I try to live my life, and I see so many people and so much violence, and I see all these debates going round and round in circles, and I think, man, I'm not saying it's a waste of time. It's nice to have a debate sometimes, but the conclusion for all of these is that we ultimately don't know. That's my point. Give me your thoughts, please. And that was another thing I was meant to mention. With that being said, and that we don't know, shouldn't we just spend our time really do the things that we know make us happy and that we enjoy, and trying to help other people? I think so. Let me know what you think.